Hello and welcome to today's Bible study. We are in 2 Kings chapter 14. So we finished off chapter 13. A lot happened in one chapter here. But basically we've got Jehoash, who's on the throne now. And he had a last moment with Elisha on Elisha's deathbed. And he wanted him to act in faith with the bow and the arrow. And he asked him to shoot the ground. But Jehoash only shot it 3 times, which wasn't enough. He should have shot it more, showing faith and obedience. And because he only shot it 3 times, he had only 3 victories over Syria. So he did get some land back, but it could have been even a greater victory if he had had a bit more faith. So yeah. Right, today we're in chapter 14. I have a different tea today. I have something called Cistus incanus. I think that's how you pronounce it. It sounds kind of Latin. It's so good for you. Oh my goodness. It's like it's got an antioxidant. It's good for getting rid of free radical damage in your body. Slows the aging process. Good for your heart. Good for your metabolism. Good for your brain. Good for your cholesterol. Good for your blood. Detoxifies the liver. It's just so much goodness. Like seriously, get into herbal teas. It's an easy way to keep healthy. And I put a little bit of star anise in there as well, which is a good antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, good for hormone balancing, all that stuff. It's just concoction of just goodness, like love it. So yeah, get yourself into some herbal teas if you're not already. They're just a very underrated health trick in my opinion. Okay, let's get into chapter 14 and see what's happening. Alright, in the 2nd year, Joash, son of Jehoaz, king of Israel, reigned Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah. Right, am I the only one who gets overwhelmed here? Especially because we've run through quite a few kings in a short space of time with the chapters. I am getting overwhelmed. So we've got a current Joash, who's king of Israel, and we've got Amaziah, who is king of Judah, who is Joash's son. Right, alright. Okay. That's why I got confused. I've got Joash on both sides. So we've got king of Israel, which is Joash, and we've got Amaziah, king of Judah, currently going on at the same time. Okay, right. Okay, he was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoadan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. Hallelujah! Yet not like David his father. There's no one like David. I said that last time. No one like David. He did according to all things as Joash his father did. Howbeit the high places were not taken away. Why? And yet the people did sacrifice and burnt incense on the high places. So it's literally got a repeat of what we saw before. So he did basically everything his father Joash had done. So he did right, but he didn't get rid of the temples and the high places, which didn't stop the sacrificing to the false gods. And if you notice, all the kings of Judah are measured against David. David is Judah's greatest king. He kept God's law and he received the promise of the Messiah coming from his line. So Amaziah had held the worship of God as Joash had done, which is good, but he also left those high places, and so forbidden worship was continuing. And it came to pass, as soon as the kingdom was confirmed in his hand, that he slew his servants which he had slain the king his father. But the children of the murderers he slew not, according unto that which is written in the book of the law of Moses, wherein the Lord commanded, saying, The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, nor the children be put to death for the fathers, but every man shall be put to death for his own sin. He slew of Edom in the valley of Salt 10,000, and took Selah by war, and called the name of it Joktheel unto this day. So Amaziah killed everyone who had killed his father. But it's very good that he stuck by Moses' law and had respect for that and didn't kill their children. And because of this faithfulness, he succeeded in war against Edom when it tried to rebel against Judah, and they seized Selah. Then Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, the son of Jehoahaz, son of Jehu. See what I mean about getting confused? The names are very similar. I have to just stop and think. Okay, Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, king of Israel. So Jehoash, king of Israel, saying, "Come, let us look one another in the face." Like when you square up to someone, right? And Jehoash the king of Israel sent to Amaziah king of Judah, saying, "The thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, Give thy daughter to my son to wife. And there passed by a wild beast that was in Lebanon, and trode down the thistle. Thou hast indeed smitten Edom, and thine heart hath lifted thee up. Glory of this, and tarry at home. For why wouldest thou meddle to thy heart, to thy hurt, that thou shouldest fall, even thou and Judah with thee?" So Amaziah, was you know when you square up like face to face, like come on then. It sounds like he's getting a bit cocky after he beat Edom. So Israel army at this point was weak because they'd been battered by Syria due to their previous disobedience. So maybe Amaziah thought it was a good time to kind of strike. But Jehoash answered with some weird response, and he said, kind of warned him, don't be overconfident, stay home, like, it's not going to work in your favour. But Amaziah would not hear. Therefore Jehoash, king of Israel, went up, and he and Amaziah, king of Judah, looked one another in the face at Beth-shemesh, which belongeth to Judah. And Judah was put to the worst before Israel, and they fled every man to their tents. And Jehoash, king of Israel, took Amaziah, king of Judah, the son of Jehoash, the son of Ahaziah, at Beth-shemesh, and came to Jerusalem, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem from the gate of Ephraim unto the corner gate 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and silver, and the vessels that were found in the house of the Lord, and in the treasures of the king's house, and hostages, and returned to Samaria. He warned him, but he wouldn't listen, so he thought he would go for it anyway. And it didn't go to plan, so Judah fled, and Jehoash captured Amaziah, and then he went and broke down the wall and took all the treasures and hostages as well. Yikes. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoash which he did in his might, and how he fought with Amaziah king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoash slept with his fathers, and was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. And Jeroboam his son reigned in his stead. So I get confused again, we've got another Jeroboam. And Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, lived after the death of Jehoash, son of Jehoash, king of Israel, 15 years. And the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? Now they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish, but they sent after him to Lachish, and slew him there. And he brought him on horses, and he was buried in Jerusalem with his fathers in the city of David. And all the people of Judah took Azariah, which was 16 years old, and made him king instead of his father Amaziah. He built Elath and restored it to Judah. After that the king slept with his fathers. So we've got Jehoash's death recorded again. Now yesterday, I forgot to mention this, I was confused. When I was writing my summary, because I do my main takeaways, I got confused that we heard that we've got Joash, which is Jehoash, there's just a short name of it. Jehoash slept with his father, so he died, and then Jeroboam took over the throne, but then the story went back to Jehoash. I got confused there. So this random bit here, just saying he died, but then the story continued with him alive, and then we would get recorded that he died again here. So that was a little bit confusing. So if you got confused by that, just know you weren't alone. And it was, he's still talking about Jehoash there, even though it said he died. That's why I was confused. But yeah. I wish commentaries would tell you that. I didn't get any notes from that anywhere. I had to read. I read 3 different Bibles to make sure I got the name right. But yeah, I think I made sense of it now. So yeah. So he's recorded death a second time here because he had a battle with Amaziah, and we needed to know why he died. And so we've got Jeroboam becoming king in his place. And remember, he's 3 out of number 4 in Jehu's line as promised by the Lord. So the Lord promised Jehu he'd have 4 generations. So this is Jeroboam is number 3. And Amaziah was kept hostage all throughout Jehoash's reign, and he lived for 15 years after he was released. But unfortunately, he was also assassinated just like his father. And Azariah was only 16 when he took over from his dad. In the 15th year of Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria and reigned 41 years. So he had a long reign, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. Oh, so he had a long reign, even though what he did was evil. And he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. So we've got, this is Jeroboam the second now. So he's not the first king of Israel. This is a different one. He restored the coast of Israel from the entering of Hamath unto the sea of the plain, according to the word of God of Israel, which he spake by the hand of his servant Jonah, the son of Amittai, the prophet, which was of Gath-hepher. For the Lord saw the affliction of Israel, that it was very bitter, for there was not any shut up, nor any left, nor any helper for Israel. And the Lord said not that he would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he saved them by the hand of Jeroboam the son of Joash. Now the rest of the acts of Jeroboam, and all that he did in his might, how he warred, and how he recovered Damascus and Hamath, which belonged to Judah for Israel, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jeroboam slept with his fathers, even with the kings of Israel, and Zechariah his son reigned in his stead. So Jeroboam the second was successful military commander, and he got a lot of territory back that they'd lost to Syria. And this is God intervening on behalf of his people out of compassion, because they had suffered a lot under Syria, but by God's grace Jehoash began to reverse it, and Jeroboam took that forward, and they even took Damascus, which is the capital of Syria. And then he was replaced by Zechariah, who is the last king of Jehu's 4. So there you go. We can see that Jeroboam, although he didn't do right by the eyes of the Lord, if this is the right Jeroboam I'm talking about here, he managed to recover a lot of lost territory because God showed mercy on them, and they started getting back the land that they lost to the Syrians. And now we're on Zechariah, the final king of Jehu's 4 descendants who were promised to be on the throne. Oh yeah, and Amaziah was cocky, and he was coming. He was doing well, but it just didn't last. So yeah, oof. It's overwhelming for me today. Or it could be my mood, I don't know. Does that happen too? Is it depending what kind of mood, what kind of zone you're in, whether you're getting this? Like I said, I'll read it again and hopefully it will make sense to me. And then we'll go into chapter 15 and hopefully things will be clear and we'll continue with the story and what's going on. So yeah, I'm keeping it real with you. I'm not here pretending like I know everything. I absolutely don't. I'm very open, saying this is my first time deeply studying, so I expect many hurdles. Because I obviously don't have the connections with other parts of the Bible yet, I don't necessarily know these stories. No one ever talks about these people when they reference the Bible, so these are kind of unknown stories to me, so I don't have any prior knowledge either. So yeah, I'm learning as well. So yeah, if you have any takeaways or you can shed some clarity on things, please do so. I do appreciate hearing from you and studying with you. And God willing, I'll speak to you tomorrow for chapter 15. Have a great day. Bye.